What's good, bros? What's going on, girls and boys? How you doing? Been a while since I've done a Friday night. I hope everyone's having a good one. How we doing? Hey, Antek. Yeah, long time, man. It's been at least a few weeks. How you doing, bro? Hope you're well. I figured since we've had so many good fight announcements lately, it's a good time to talk about the resurgence of this shit organization that we've been stuck with for a little while. And just to have a general catch up, see how everyone's doing. So yeah, shout out to everyone as always. Hope you're doing well. How you doing, Paradox? Was good, man. Paradox, I'm gonna do a watch along for the Misfits card tomorrow. Not all of it, obviously, because it's full of bums. But let me know if you want to jump on. You got to get something going for that. It's low hanging fruit, but I'll take it. How you doing, Orange Cat? What's good, man? Shout out to you. Islam or JDM? I'm going JDM, man. I think JDM is gonna torture him for 5 rounds. I do think it will go to distance, but yeah, I'm very confident in a JDM win here. I think it's going to be the end of the little rat. How you doing, Idaho? What's good, man? Idaho, if you're about tomorrow, I don't know if you're working or not. I know you're a one-man operation. But yeah, if you could hop on that Misfits card as well, that'd be sweet. I'm gonna do like a similar time. It will be like 8. I think it's like 8 p.m. some shit like that. My time. I figure we can make fun of the whole thing. I've just seen the odds for the card, and it's quite interesting. There may be some scratch to be made. In theory. Sweet. Oh, you got work. Fuck. That old excuse, yeah? Out there making money and shit, yeah? You scumbag. Fair enough, though. I think Brutaly's going to jump on, so, yeah, we'll sort something out. It should be funny at the very least. It's going to be some low-quality dog shit scrap fest, which is right up my alley. Hello, mate. I'll lock in about 10 minutes, just cleaning up work. Hope you're good, Westy. Hopefully we won't need your services too much today. I've had some conversations with people. So hopefully the scumbag trolling will be kept to a minimum. But we'll see how it goes. Do you bet Tony Ferguson just for the lulz? Nah. I don't take the approach of flushing my money down the toilet. Unless it's on ridiculous t-shirts that are way overpriced. That's going to be a bloodbath. Tony Ferguson is going to get humiliated. I think the only thing that Tony Ferguson could get out of this is surviving for 6 rounds, because he's going to get battered. Yeah, bro, if I could, I would. There's some things I can't do myself, and the only day I can get help is Saturday, unfortunately. Fair play. I mean, Westy is probably going to fall on deaf ears, but we'll see. It's got to be at least minus 1,000. I think Salt Pappy, from what I checked, from what I saw recently, let's have a quick gander, because I looked at the odds just before this. I think Salt Pappy is minus 500 is the last thing I saw, which is very good odds. So Ferguson is like, I think he's a plus 340, which is he should be a plus 70 million. He cannot box. The thing is, there's good odds on Tony Ferguson. We talked about this in a previous chat. I forgot, is Dylan Dennis fighting KSI? That's gonna be shit. I fucking hate KSI. If you can find odds on Tony Ferguson doing something stupid like a spinning back fist or an elbow or a head kick or some shit, those are the odds you want to fuck with. How's it going, Owen Mania? I grew up in London, but I don't live there anymore. I live in Cambridgeshire. I made my money and got the fuck out of there. I don't want to get stabbed. Dennis, easy work. Dylan Dennis is just out here trying to pay his legal bills at this point. But the thing I like about Dylan Dennis here is he's unapologetically milking that cow. So full respect to him. If you're putting money on Dylan Dennis, you clearly haven't learned anything. The guy's a jiu-jitsu guy and not a particularly good one at that. So that's gonna go south real quick. Real sharp. But shout out to you, Owen Mania. Are you a UK guy yourself? Nice to have you here. I'm trying to collect more UK guys like Infinity Stone so I can eventually phase out these American cunts. Darren Till versus Luke Rockhold predictions. I think Darren Till's gonna beat the brakes off him. The problem with Luke Rockhold is there's a few issues I've got with the Luke. Now the odds on this one, let me throw this up real quick. Because I knew the odds were going to be crazy. I didn't know they were going to be this crazy. Darren Till is minus 2,000. I'm obviously expecting that it's going to be. I knew the odds were going to be wide, but I didn't think they were going to be this wide. Darren Till is going to beat him up, in my opinion, very badly. Luke Rockhold cannot box, firstly. And also, he's an unbelievable narcissist. So those are two things that I think are going to go very, very badly for him. One thing I will say, I don't know how many rounds it is, but I'm expecting. I think Darren Till will knock him out later on in the fight. Darren Till was actually pretty good with his hands. His transition to boxing made a lot more sense, whereas with old Luke Rockhold, not so much. I would love if Dylan Dennis. I thought Dylan Dennis was fighting. Oh, of course he's not fighting KSI. He might win actually. Who knows? If he's fighting some scrub, then he's not going to win. Dylan Dennis can beat nobody at boxing. He's out here just to get some money, and I respect it. Because let's be honest, Jay, he gave us one of the best trolls on a slut in social media history. We all had a good chuckle at that for a few weeks, watching a slag just get dragged through the streets, and we all enjoyed every second of it. So the fact he has to face legal ramifications from a complete weasel, wouldn't narcissism help in a fight? Absolutely not. Not when you're dog shit. The thing is, if you're narcissistic and you're good, it can help. Frankie, it's MMA, you nonce. Is it? In a boxing ring? It's Dylan Dennis, though, bro. It will be interesting to see an MMA fight in a boxing ring, though. See how that works without all the hugging. I do read the comments, Idaho. I try to. 20-1 odds, yeah. I mean, like I said, it might be worth throwing a few quid on Luke Rockhold just for that, but he's plus 1,000. So I don't know. How you doing, Otis? What's good, man? Sorry, you're right. I don't read the comments all that well. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Nice to have you here as always. I always appreciate your autistic view. I think this card is going to be fun. I think it's going to be retardation, but people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I remember when Dennis was a legit prospect in MMA like 6 years ago. I don't think he ever was. He was just more of a big mouth. I don't think anyone ever really took him that seriously. But I tell you what, in terms of trolling, he might be number one. He might be the best troll out there. And again, I respect the hustle. I'm one of those people. Yeah, I know a lot of shit. I know people shit on people who don't have talent, but I have maximum respect for somebody who can maximize their money, maximize their bag, and have absolutely no skill to go with it. I consider that to be. I do love a good grifter, is what I'm saying. Till is just a left straight, and Luke is just a check hook. Well, that's the thing. It's like anyone who's winging punches in boxing is gonna have a bad night. Nah, bro. When he was coming up in Bellator, he was actually he was 2-0 in Bellator, wasn't he? He's never really had like a MMA record to be taken seriously, and he fought bums. He fought absolutely nobody. I know he got 2 semi-decent wins, but he spent most of the time injured. I guess some people thought he might amount to something, but I think it was more his mouth and the fact that he was associated with Connor, obviously, which doesn't hurt or does hurt, whatever. Dennis's opponent ain't that bad, but Dennis is gonna obliterate his forehead blood. I don't know, man. I can't trust Dylan Dennis in anything. I don't think he's that seriously. Idaho, I know you're capping right now, and it's hilarious. Keep it up. Dennis is an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner, dickhead. But this is the thing. It's like we said, man. In MMA, how far does that take you? Won both his matches by sub. I'm saying those 2 wins were interesting, and then he never fought again. Who is he? Yeah, I'm with Betty on this one. Who was he legit to? This is definitely a troll job, and I respect you for it. But let's get serious right now. Anyone serious was or anyone who knows anything about the sport was not taking this guy seriously. Like elite of the elite. Ask Jesse on Fire. Ask Machu Sablan, fam. Ask Joe Hogan. Oh, for real. I mean, if those boys are saying it's legit, then fuck me. I need to rethink. I wonder why Dennis doesn't compete in CGI. Has he competed in BJJ or all in recent years? Nah, not really. I mean, the thing is, yeah, he's with Dennis. Yeah, there's legit reasons for why he hasn't fought. He has been really badly injured. He's had really bad injuries that have held him back. So I'm not going to shit on him too much. And like I say, I enjoy Dylan Dennis. I find the guy hilarious. I immensely enjoy him. So I'm not going to shit on the guy. I'd love to see him win because he's one of those guys here that you can put in against anyone and he'll turn it into a spectacle. But then he gets in there and just lays an egg. So if you're looking for him to actually do something in a fight, you're going to be very disappointed. But the trolling beforehand is well worth the price of admission. So shout out to Dylan Dennis. And I'm always going to have maximum respect for anyone that can bring Logan Paul down a peg. How you doing, Carl? What's good, bro? Pretty sure Dennis came out and said he has the tools to. He says a lot of shit like that. He talks a lot of shit like that. Again, I respect it. It's not a troll job, bro. I'm not saying he was going to be world champ, but god damn it, you guys don't think anything outside some loser getting 3 wins against bum in the UFC. Bro, no, if you're not trolling, then you have had brain damage. I think you've been sniffing too much paint at work, mate. You can't call somebody a prospect unless he fights anyone decent or has amassed any kind of record, and he's done none of those things. He's the Jenna Jameson of the MMA game, 100%. Is that her name, Jenna Jameson? He's a slag, pure and simple. But you're right, though. I mean, if he wanted to make something of his career, he should just be doing pure jiu-jitsu. He shouldn't be doing MMA. Interesting prospect is fair enough, but like legit prospect, definitely not. And I'm with Betty again. I feel like Betty and I have been like a horse and a harness recently. By the way, Betty, shout out for your incredible Geo impression. I don't know how you managed to nail an impression so well and make him sound like even more of a fag. That is fucking hats off to you, sir. I was rolling. But yeah, beating two scrubs in Bellator. The thing is, yeah, I only found out about those fights happening after the fact. And I used to watch Bellator. I was one of those bums who had some faith in Bellator and actually enjoyed the show. Orange Cat, yeah, he'd get chin, but let him cook. I mean, like I said, Dylan Dennis is good entertainment value. I was interested in him returning to MMA. Keep in mind, I only started watching in late 2019, and I watched Bellator, and I was like, oh, damn, when is this guy going to fight again? Again, he does bring eyeballs to the sport, and I respect him for that. I do, but calling him like maybe an interesting prospect is fair because the word interesting could have many connotations. But in terms of anyone who was going to ever achieve anything ever, I'm going to have to balk at that, my friend. Real ones know Dennis was a mythical prospect. I mean, again, we're using rather interesting terminology and vernacular here. Words like interesting and mythical, you can interpret in any way. Good prospect, when you start using words like good, legit, that's where we're going to run into some difficulty. But he's definitely good at bringing eyeballs. And I personally am all for him. Yeah, we're actually talking about Dylan Dennis, Kyle, if you can believe it, as an actual prospect in the sport. Stunning. Stunning. I look forward to deeping this at some point when Idaho can get his fucking priorities straight and get back on the show. Because I would love to see how he defends this in person. Without looking it up, who did Dylan Dennis beat in Bellator? That's right. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, Dylan Dennis, and he is fighting tomorrow. I didn't know it was an MMA bout, so I'm slightly more optimistic about his prospects. I would never bet on the guy though. What's his what are the odds on that fight, by the way? I've been watching MMA 11 years at that point, so I was probably more realistic. It was probably I was probably more realistic with his appraisal. Yeah. Sorry about the lighting, guys, but I don't care. I'm not getting up to fix it this time. Fuck that. We cannot have a serious conversation about Dylan Dennis being in any way good. Name 10 books. Are you fucking serious? Retarded take. What did anyone hang on a second, I can't even who did anyone beat? But that's the point that we're making. Like, it's to call him in any way an interesting prospect is ludicrously retarded, my friend. If he didn't roll with McGregor, who would be talking about him in any facet? In any way, shape, or form? Who would be discussing him? Nobody. He is the epitome of like a, what do you call it? A coattail grabber. Don't even get me started on the Gracies, those frauds. I think Ayman Zahabi beats Cheeto and could contend for a belt soon. That's not a bad shout. Cheeto's a good name to have on your resume, don't get me wrong, but I think Ayman Zahabi is going to have too much for him. I can see that but again, I can see that it's going to be a decision. And I just think Ayman will have the better moments. So I don't think that's a bad shout. I think him contending for the belt is a bit too far. But I can definitely see him getting, I think he comes unstuck when he gets to a top 5 opponent, in my opinion. And that's not even shitting on the guy because he is decent. I'm saying directly after his second fight and 6 months subsequent, he was an interesting prospect. How is that? I don't think it's calling him an interesting prospect isn't a ludicrous take. Calling him a good prospect is insanity. It's like I said, he's had the capacity since he started in the game to get people to watch. And that's more than half the battle. But to suggest in any facet he was ever going to achieve anything is bananas. And incorrect. Sorry, bro. Don't think he'll ever win the belt, but I could see him getting a shot if matchmaking falls his way. I don't think so. I don't think Ayman's somebody that they're really looking at, to be honest. And again, he's in a division that is stacked to the rafters. The one thing that could work in his favor is obviously he's a bantamweight, and Marab's clean through most of it. So you never know. You never know. I could definitely see it. I could see it happening, but he's not going to get it. My problem with it is if he gets through Cheeto, which is highly possible, he's then going to find himself with a top 5 opponent. And who does he beat in the top 5? I don't think anyone. How you doing, Lurk? Is that what's Naruto? I almost said something very nerdy there. How you doing, Lurk? Good to see you. Kron Gracie beat Prime Alex Caceres, and we acting like Dylan Dennis wouldn't beat Prime Antonio Tricoli. Fuck you and your trolling, you cunt. And all I'm saying is it's crazy to see you could have had like an MMA career in some capacity. Have you seen his striking though? There's no way he would have had an any way decent MMA career. You're capping and you need to stop sniffing paint, mate. Yeah, BJJ fighters aren't aggressive like those wrestling rushing type. This is the BJJ is they had a brief moment in the sun. Unfortunately, that moment is over. If your only bow is BJJ, you're getting battered on the street and you're getting dealt with in an MMA cage. Because the problem now with have being BJJ specific is most people can at least defend themselves on the ground now. So if you can't strike and you can't get good takedowns, you're getting fucked in the bum hole, and rightfully so. You nut hugging cunts. I just quit sniffing paint. Oh, nice one, bro. It's a good career move. Impression of Raja Jackson trying to slam the road Murphy so Leon Edwards comes in and stabs him. That is such a specific one. I don't do impressions in general, and I definitely don't do impressions of black people. But thanks for trying, though. That's a very, very specific one. I appreciate you for giving that one a go. Shout out to you. Dylan Dennis would have cried. No, okay, now you're just okay. Who would Dylan Dennis have beaten? How you doing, Tinos? I'm assuming you're a Greek homie up in here. How you doing, brother? What are you saying? Nothing much, man. We're just kind of discussing some of the we're just discussing, well, the Misfits card tomorrow night, which I am doing a watch along for with some of the boys. And we're talking about some of the fights that have finally been announced and asking the general question, is the UFC back? Because it's been a stinker of a year. The last month or so has been pretty decent, but it seems like the UFC is back in business. So I'm usually like a channel of like trolling and just straight rage, but you got to give some credit where it's due. Dennis couldn't defend himself from Jake Paul. I mean, that was the most embarrassing display. He threw like 9 strikes in however long. Yes, sir, but living in London, shout out to you. I used to live in London. Got out of there real quick. Like I said, man, I'm not in favor of getting stabbed, to be honest. But shout out to you. I've got a couple of Cypriot friends, proper mongoloids, but I love them. Appreciate that, bro. There's nothing to rate here though. This is as low barrel as it gets. It's about as dog shit as it gets. What's the difference between a respectable MMA fighter and a bum? I mean, now you're getting technical with me, and you know how that goes when you try to do that. I'm just gonna divert. I mean, to be honest, bro. I mean, like I said, throw up some names at welterweight that are in any way decent that Dylan Dennis is gonna beat. Name somebody on the welterweight roster right now that Dylan Dennis fucks up. I'll wait. I can't blame you for leaving. I had a good 26 years there. I enjoyed my time there. But like I said, I enjoyed I enjoyed sucking that teat dry. And then I got the fuck out of the country, made more money, and now I'm living in the burbs in a nice house sitting next to a lake. Have to deal with the odd crackhead every now and then, but it's England. Are you a lad or a mate type of Brit? I would say, yeah. First instincts on that. I've used both very, very with a lot of freedom. My first instinct was to say I'm a lad type Brit, whatever that means. So yeah, some of the fights we're obviously talking about. First one guess we can discuss is Imavov and Baraujo. Be very interested to see what people think about this one. Personally, I'm going with Imavov. I think he's got the takedown defense and is just a much better striker. And I'm definitely going to be laying down some money on this one. Big up to yourself. Shout out to you, motherfucker. Everyone Michael Chiesa beat. Again, I don't think so, man. Dylan Dennis' striking is... We're talking pits of Anubis type level. He is awful. Morono. No, he wouldn't beat Morono. He wouldn't beat Morono. Morono would box the head off him. Try again. I don't like the French, so I'm going with Baraujo. I mean, I respect that. French people are white flag waving cheesemongers. Women are quite good. If you can ignore the hairy armpits. But he's not. He's Algerian, really, though, and he's not a real Frenchman. So you got to take that into consideration. You think the Brazilian is winning? It is a very hard name to say. Cal Baralho. I don't get me wrong. I think Baralho's very decent. But I made a video about the fighter nerds a long time ago, and I said from the start that Prates would lose his O, but I said Cal would lose his O first, so I'm sticking with that. I think the best prospect out of the fighter nerds is Gene Silva, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Imavov is a tough one. Sometimes he outperforms. Sometimes I think his last 3 performances have been standout I'm him performances. I thought the Israel Adesanya one in particular really stood out to me. I think he's looked very good. I mean, I know the MMA math doesn't work like this, but if you put up their 2 performances against Jared Cannonier, Cal Baralho kind of struggled his way through that one, and it was a close one, and he definitely faded later on. Whereas with Imavov, he pretty much schooled him on the feet, in my opinion, and hurt him. So based on retarded MMA math, I've got to go with Imavov. But the odds being a pick'em, I quite like. I would bet money on Danis against current state Morono. I don't care. Well, current state Morono, prime Morono beats the shit out of him, in my opinion. He just boxes the noodle off him. But the fact that you're throwing up names like Morono, bro, and the fact that you can debate it, it's not a good. It ruins your credibility immediately. Again, I'm not a Dylan Danis hater. I love Dylan Danis. He can't fight. He can't fight. Let's just be honest with ourselves. He's terrible. So yeah, I'm going with Imavov on this one. I do think it's going to be a close fight, and I think obviously whoever wins that fight is going to get the title shot. However, if it's a stinker, and then we get a banger between RDR and Fluffy, who I want to talk about next. Now everyone knows I'm the biggest Fluffy glazer in town. We've got Fluffy and RDR a month later, and I've got maximum respect to those two for not sitting on their own dicks and waiting to see what happens, see if they can sneak in for a title shot. I like the fact that they're fighting each other. A lot of respect for middleweight right now. But as I've said multiple times, Khamzat Chimaev is going to do everyone dirty and not fight for 9 months anyway, so it's all completely pointless. Who are your picks for the next Dana White Contender Series? I've got no idea, mate. No idea. I don't know who's fighting. I only watched the second round of Dana White's Contender Series, which turned out to be pretty good. I was doing a watch along for the last one, and then my son started crying in the middle of the night, so I had to bail. So I didn't even finish watching it. I've got no idea. Maybe I'll do a little research before the fights. I probably won't be asked, but I'll probably do a watch along for the next one. Fluffy's going to beat RDR. I completely agree. I've been a massive Fluffy fan since he beat Rodolfo Vieira, and I've been saying this guy has got future champ thing about him. He's got a future champ aura about him. I don't think he quite gets there, but I do think he beats RDR, and I do think he gets a title shot. The problem is Hamzat's going to sit on his dick for a year and a half and just ride being the champion for as long as he can until he's forced to fight. Who cares? Hamzat ruined the fun at middleweight. I mean, he's ruined the fun in terms of, but see, the thing is, yeah, I'll be honest with you, Idaho, yeah, I've stopped doing that. I've stopped thinking, oh, only title fights matter. There are so many fights underneath that are so interesting. I mean, the 2 potential title eliminators we've got under this are great fights. So I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. What was your Imavov comment? Sorry, I'm rambling. Yeah, Hamzat's going to beat everyone anyway. I don't think so. What's your son's name? I'm not telling you that. You fucking insane. You think I'm going to tell a bunch of degenerate weirdos on the internet what the name of my son is? No chance. True, middleweight is shining right now, but Hamzat is just going to ruin all the fun. Oh, I did say it. It's definitely not just about title fights. I've got to agree with that. By the way, if you're new here, subscribe, like the channel. Really appreciate it. I mean, I'm not trying to make any money out of this, as you guys all know, but it's nice to see the numbers going up. The whole purpose of this is just to build the community and enjoy ourselves out here, have some base chat, and just enjoy ourselves. So yeah, I think middleweight's the hottest division in the UFC right now. Because the thing is, yeah, bantamweight's obviously great. I enjoy flyweight. I think those divisions are more skilled. But in terms of implications, I don't think it gets much hotter than middleweight at the moment. Again, the trouble is we're going to have a sitting duck champion who's basically being held captive by a dictator. So his name is probably West. Bro, I'm Irish. Let's cut down on that. Cuthbert, yeah. Cuthbert. His name is Cuthbert. I'm Irish, man. I got dragged here against my will when I was 1 year old. So I basically turn on the Britishness whenever it suits me. I'll big up Britain when it suits me, and I'll take massive shits all over them also when it suits me. Frankie's son's name is Collingsworth. That would have been a sick name. I picked my son's name in the most scientifically ingenious way possible. I basically sat down with a name book with my 2 daughters and obviously my son's mother, and we basically went from A to Z until we found a name that we all agreed on. And I've got to admit, his name is awesome. There's going to be no getting bullied at school for him. I think anybody who gives their son or daughter a shitty name that gets them bullied doesn't deserve to be a parent. You are a cutie pie. Thanks very much, Greg. Like I said, 40 years old now. I'll take compliments wherever I can get them. So thank you very much, Greg Arnold. Hopefully you're not beaten off right now, but you wouldn't be the first. You look like Hyunjin from Stray Kids. I've got no idea what that means, but you know what? I'm not going to look it up, and I'm just going to take it as a compliment. Thank you very much. Appreciate you very much, Vinny. And I'm a big anime guy myself. I got a few I'm assuming that's anime. You think Hamza would rather vacate to welterweight or light heavyweight? Any aspect, Hamzat's not going to be able to do what he does at light heavy, and light heavyweights are shit and unskilled. Don't get me wrong, but imagine Hamzat fighting Ankalaev. He gets destroyed. Or I beg you, search him up. I don't think I'm just going to take I'm going to assume it's a compliment and just enjoy the moment. Do you know what? Fuck it. What's his name? Hyunjin. Let me just shout out my Hyunjin from Stray Kids. Oh. I'm assuming this is a Korean. Let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, you're implying that I get fucked in the ass, don't you? Well, that's the illusion shattered. Do you live with your girl? Not exactly. It's a complicated situation. But as you can see from my Hyunjin style face, I am a premium style dick slinger. Or was back in the day. Unfortunately, I've been neutered. You really think Ankalaev would easily beat Hamzat? Yeah, of course I do. Way too big. It's hentai. Oh. It's hentai. I'm assuming I've searched up the wrong cunt, but never mind. How do you know it's hentai? You answered that way too quickly, Idaho. Idaho dived straight in there without a Google search and was like, it's hentai. Why am I not surprised that you jerk off to that shit? You degenerate piece of shit. As I said, if you're new here, throw your boy a sub. I'm ball achingly close to 1,200 subs. I think I'm about 5 away. Honey Vanilla, how you doing? My mother would beat them both. Beat them both off. Man, don't talk that way about your mother. It's cold. How you doing, Mariner? Where you from? I'm from the UK. I know I just said I'm from Ireland, but I like to flip-flop in that way. I'm originally Irish, but I moved to the UK when I was 1. Got smuggled over the border. Looking svelte and strong. Mountain Man, it's good to have you back here, you motherfucker. Always a welcome addition to the chat. So yeah, I'm officially going for Imavov to beat Baralho. From what I've heard, the Ankalaev will more likely move up to heavyweight. I mean, he could do. He's got plenty of people to fight at light heavyweight though, because he didn't exactly go through a gauntlet to get to where he's gotten to. The problem is though, yeah, that Tom Aspinall has very few options when he hopefully fucking steamrolls through that French charlatan. So got a lot of Greek people turning up today. Shout out to Greece. Greece is one of my favorite holiday destinations. Big fan of Santorini. Shout out to the Greeks. It's on a very, very short list of where I would move once I've sucked everything I can out of the UK and head over to a new European. It's going to be out of Greece and Spain. I'll be real with you, and I'm kind of edging Greece because at least you get a few cold days. You know why they would never hit a woman? They definitely would, bro. If the money's right, they definitely would. Why would you betray Ireland by going to the UK at 1? Greg, do you know what really hurt me about that? Yeah, I got dragged over to the UK, so obviously I've got this faggy voice that you can hear right now. You know, I definitely sound like a throat jockey. All of us Brits do. It's not our faults. But then I would go home to Ireland and visit the family, and they would laugh at me and call me a fag. So, and then I grew up around black people, so I was always the proverbial black sheep, so to speak, or I guess the white sheep in this situation, or the pink sheep in this situation. But I have gone back to live in Ireland since, and it's fucking amazing. It was a betrayal of sorts, though. Greg, you don't know how Irish people roll. Konstantinos, and I'm saying the same thing to you. It's like with. Do you consider Cypriot people Greek? Because I don't. How much would it take for you to hit a woman? Depends how mouthy the cunt is, to be honest. I don't really need money to exchange hands. And basically, if a woman, here's the way that I see it, yeah. If a woman gets physical with you, I figure you're allowed to use 10% back, which, let's be honest, fellas, is more than enough. I'm of the Sean Connery perspective. I think if women think that they can talk reckless and get away with it, you know, when they go too far, there has to be repercussions. Because let's be honest, yeah, we're not that good with our words. I'm not saying mount the bitch and ground and pound. That's not what I'm saying. You know, just a little shaking every now and then, or maybe a little front and back. Do you know what I mean? A little slap just to remind them to not get too crazy. Cyprian is like fake Muslim. Give me as much ammunition as you can, because I've got Cyprian friends who claim to be Greek and had the nerve to celebrate when Greece won the Euros. Christian, but with Arab culture. That sounds like the worst of both worlds, if I'm being honest. I've had plenty to say about Arabs on this channel, and I'm not a big fan. And I can say that because I've lived in the Middle East for 2 years. And as I said in my last live stream, Arabs are some of the most dirty cunts out there. And just to be clear, I'm not shitting on Muslims, because I've got Muslim members of my family or Islamic members of my family. But Arabs are dirty fuckers. It's mad the tangents that are going on this channel. Apologies in advance if you're new here and you've got very soft sensibilities. But this is the kind of place where shit just runs buck wild. Shotgun, how you doing, you son of a bitch? As a Greek, I respect Scottish and Irish people more than British, as you should, sir. We're real people. British people don't even know what being quintessentially British even means these days. The whole British identity is screwy as fuck. SWR down, wearing belts. I lived in Qatar. Swear down. Sorry, man. Fucking I revealed myself as a bit of a phony there. I lived in Qatar for 2 years. And I fucking plowed my way through the whole country, brother. So I spent a bit of time in Bahrain, Oman, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I enjoyed living in Qatar. It was like living in a fucking oven, though. I got there at 4 o'clock in the morning the first time I moved there. 4 a.m. and it was 50 degrees Celsius. And as you can see from my complexion, that was hard. The thing is about Qatar though, is the UV rays aren't really out there, so you don't need suntan lotion because you don't get burnt there, but you smell like you're cooking. It was unbelievably hot. Have you submitted an ID for access to the internet? No, I use a VPN, sir. Simple. Here's the thing. I've got Arabs that I'm friends with, but it's like how I feel about Jewish people as well. Actually, I don't have any Jewish friends, so I'm talking shit now. But I've got friends that are Arabs, yeah. But generally, by and large, they are disgusting people. And they're the gayest people I've ever encountered. I've been propositioned by so many Arab men when I was in Qatar for me to fuck their wives and to have some triangles and all. I was offered some outrageous shit. For some reason, they look at me and think, definitely up for a bumming. And as I said in my last stream, exit only, boys. Would you rather go back to Qatar, Dubai, or Oman? Oman's beautiful. I would probably go to Bahrain, but the money isn't as good there. But Bahrain is basically like I've told people before, yeah. In the Middle East, yeah, there are tiers of how strict things are. So like in Saudi Arabia, it's like A tier strict. You can't drink, you can't fuck pussy, you can't get away with nothing. Very similar to Kuwait, which looks like Slough in the 1970s, absolute shithole. But then you've got places like Qatar, which is somewhere in the middle, Dubai, where you can get away with being a little bit of a scallywag. And then you've got Bahrain, where all the Arabs go to do drugs and fuck hookers. Bahrain. And Oman's kind of somewhere in the middle as well. Same here. My bird is Lebanese, but overall, I don't like them. Lebanese chicks are fire. So shout out to you. If you're new here, like I said, and you enjoy this type of degenerate debauchery, throw up a sub. I've been aching to get to 1,200 as soon as possible, and it's been a long slog. Dubai, maybe they got a sick ass skate park. They probably do. I would assume that they do. But nah, man, the Middle East was a nice place to live. How's the situation now of immigrants in the UK? From what I hear on the news, it's really, really bad, but I mostly keep to myself. Yeah, shorty, I went to Kuwait for a weekend. So I met this girl on like a dating app, and I went there to basically pound her brains out. And I ordered a hotel, and this Indian guy was, don't even get me started on Indians. We'll get to that later. So I've got to this hotel, and I've met this girl. We're about to go to the room. And the guy says to me, "Where's your marriage certificate?" So long story short, I flew out to Kuwait for the weekend, which is an absolute shithole, by the way. And I had to settle for a blowjob in a car park. I was not a happy camper. Connor was coked out his entire time in Saudi, and he made it obvious. The thing is with Saudi, yeah. Whenever I would go to these places, yeah, it's like I was in Vietnam a couple of weeks ago. Look out for the streams in those one; they were doozies. I was in Vietnam and I bumped into a couple of Saudi guys, and they were out there. One Saudi guy was with a ladyboy. So that will just give you a summary of what those guys are like. They are maximum hypocrites. I'm just keeping it real. Indians are slaves in the Middle East. They take the passport basically. I mean, 100%. 100%. Now, again, I've got Indian friends, but I don't like the way there are certain aspects of Indian culture that I don't like. The arrogance and the queue jumping, I'm not a big fan of. Indians are the kind of people, yeah, where they'll see a queue and then they'll think to themselves, how can I bypass this and act like it doesn't exist? I've got into so many fights with little Indian cunts who try to pull this shit off in front of me. It winds me up something special. I thought we were going to talk about MMA these days. Apologies about that. Definition of hypocrite. Saudis are the worst for it. The worst for it. They literally, bro. And like I said, Qataris as well. These Arabs are just dirty. And they think, like I said in my last stream, yeah, they think that all of us foreigners or Westerners, we're all bisexual. That's what they think. Highest gay porn searches come from the Middle East because of the repression. It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. And a lot of them are married to their cousins, so the gene pool's kind of fucked up as well. So they're all fucked up in the head. It's like I said, do the maths here. In Qatar, there are 300,000 Qataris and there are 2 million foreigners living in the country. Are there any gays in Saudi? I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 50-50 split, mate. And the thing you got to understand, Greg, yeah, when you're balling out of control to that degree, yeah. So Saudis and Qataris in particular are balling out of control, yeah. They're all millionaires, yeah, literally every single one of them. When you've got ultimate money and you can do anything you want, eventually it comes down to, I wonder what a cucumber up the arse feels like. Just being honest. And that's how these fuckers roll. Iran has the second most sex change surgeries in the world. They think it's a loophole in their non-gay traditions. No, motherfucker, you gay. I agree. Calling us dirty pork eaters and preaching about morals when they don't have any. And again, they all fuck with pork as well. Pork does seem to be the cutoff point for them, but a little bit of dangling dick in the arsehole seems to be, there's loopholes they can exploit. I'm telling you, man, they're the most fucked up people out there. You think Turkey Al-Sheikh is gay? Have you seen the way he mocked Dana White and made him hold his hand? I'm surprised you even feel like you have to ask me this question. This is turning into a wild one again, boys. Apologies. Turkey Al-Sheikh is definitely given reach arounds. But yeah, they're hypocrites. The thing is about Jewish people, yeah, I can't believe I'm getting into this today. I wouldn't necessarily call them hypocrites, but they're definitely arrogant little shits. And again, yeah, when I say racist things, and I do, because fuck it, I'm not saying that I can't be friends and enjoy with people individually. I'm saying I feel like it's perfectly fair game when somebody culturally stands for something, like for example, the Jews stand for we are better than everyone else. I can call them arrogant. When Indian people have a caste system where they say they're better than everyone else, I can call them arrogant. And when they jump queues, I can slap them up. Because if I've been standing around for 2 hours and you try to skip the line, I reserve the right to whoop your ass. This is going to be a fun one to clip up. I wish reporters would bring that up to Dana White and the press. The thing is, when Dana White has a proper fall off, the questions are going to get asked. It's like, why were you holding brother's hand? He'll deflect and say it's a cultural thing or whatever. This is a Friday stream, bro. Everything's a Sunday stream now. I've gone off the book. I should have called, like, it's just out of pocket here from now on. I don't give a fuck anymore. What country is the best boobs, Frankie? I'd say probably Sweden. I'm gonna go with the Swedish. And you know that I'm not into apples, and by apples I mean white chicks. However, they have the most pound for pound tens out there. How long have you been a nicotine addict for? I stopped smoking about 10 years ago, but I started vaping again this summer, and I'm gonna quit again at the end of the summer. I'm a 6 months on, 6 months off kind of guy. Sweden has great naturals. When you criticize Jews just in the slightest, you're going to be labeled as anti-Semitic, you know. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Again, I can only speak from my experiences. And again, when somebody culturally says we are better than other people and we were born into that, you're an arrogant cunt, in my opinion. I've got nothing against the Jewish faith whatsoever, but I'm more talking about cultural beliefs that I disagree with, that conflict with my own. Where should I move to after college as a white gay guy who isn't into black guys? Fucking hell, man. That's a very niche question. San Francisco. I've heard San Francisco has a lot of that demographic roaming about. Talk about Tony Ferguson and Rockhold. All right. I think Tony Ferguson is going to get humiliated badly. As I said at the opening of this stream, I think the best case scenario for Tony Ferguson is survival or doing something goated, like throwing a spinning elbow or some kind of wacky wheelhouse kick. That's the only if Tony Ferguson does something goated and makes a farcical thing out of the whole thing by throwing something illegal, that would be amazing. That's the only saving grace he's got out of this. Shout out to the LGBTQ HDMI PS5 community in that. Shout out to those confused motherfuckers. I've got nothing against gay people either. What you'll find is that I have a general disdain for humanity on the whole. So it's an equal opportunity slash in here, is what I'm saying. I don't think it's racist or Zionistic, as you would put it, if you're calling out things that they are saying. I don't think anybody should be immune from criticism. Did you see Aspinall broke a heavy bag in training? Aspinall's a beast, but if he goes out there and loses to, I just got distracted by the all Greeks gay thing. If he goes out there and loses to Cyril Gane, I might cry. Actually, it's not that deep for me. But losing to a French guy would be unforgivable. I mean, Greeks were very, very liberal. How you doing, Gary? Lex Friedman. The thing is, yeah, I'm very confused here because I've been told I look like a vast array of people that look nothing like each other. So it's all very confusing. But shout out to Lex Friedman. Thoughts on Dirty Boxing card today? Is it better than the one tomorrow? The Dirty Boxing card looks all right. They got Rosenstruik on there who should have never been cut. I'm going to give it a crack, to be fair. What time's it on? He won't lose to Gane. I don't think there's any way he loses to Gane as well. I think he beats him in the first round as well. All right, Frank. So I'm about to do a live for Dirty Boxing. Shout out to you later. Shout out to Idaho. If you want somebody to do to follow along and do a live watch along for the Dirty Boxing, Idaho is your man. Obviously part of the team here. I don't know why he would be, but he is. Shout out to Idaho. Give the guy a sub and follow him. Mate, it's horrid tonight. You're off it. The thing is, all right, the names on the Dirty Boxing card aren't necessarily it, but it's Dirty Boxing, mate. It's going to be scrappy and it's going to be fun. So I'm all for it. And we're probably going to see some tits. So let's do it. It's not very good for name value, but I want to start an MMA channel. Do you have any suggestions? My suggestion would be, Greg, is just do it. Make a video, but also try and integrate yourself into communities like this. So we've got loads of people that are part of this community that are MMA creators. Get yourself in with the community, be an active chat member, get your chat going, and then people like me will shout you out and your community will grow. And one thing I'll say is make a video, get started. Don't cheat. Don't start botting and doing all that kind of shit because it will lead you to hell. And then don't get disheartened when your first few videos do absolutely nothing, because they probably won't. It's very, very hard when you start. What happens to most people is they make a couple of videos, it doesn't get very many views, and then they give up. Don't give up. Make a couple videos and see what it do. Sorry, another ramble. That's my advice. You should wear a rash guard when you stream. A rash guard. Gaz Ninja, how you doing, bro? I don't know what a rash guard is, but I'm assuming you're dissing me right now, so suck my ballsack. I mean, it's heavyweight. You can never count anyone out. One punch can change anything, especially in that division, but Aspinall is more well-rounded. I agree. On paper, it should be easy. I mean, he's got I think Aspinall and Gane are actually very comparable on the feet in terms of their actual... I would even argue that potentially Gane is a more technical striker, but Aspinall's got the power. And he's a way better well-rounded mixed martial artist. So it should be an easy day in the park for him. Yeah, especially with lesser known guys. I agree with you. We're probably going to see some tits. So let's do it 100%. I'm in it for the tits. All day. Baralho is not winning, bro. I mean, he could win. It's not ridiculous. But I'm taking Imavov. I think Imavov's got good takedown defense, or he's developed good takedown defense. And I just like him better on the feet. It's on in 30 minutes. So hang around for a little bit, bro. Don't be that guy. Can you fight tough? Nah, bro. I'm more of a big mouth. I'm fairly handy. I mean, I'm not fucking Muhammad Bruce Lee or whatever. I'm fairly scrappy. But I'm at the age now, Channel O, where when the going gets tough, I'm calling the cops because I'm not about that anymore and it's juvenile and stupid. I got stabbed many, many years ago and I still didn't learn a lesson from it. So now I'm more of a I've got kids now, I've got a job. I've got the kind of job, yeah, where if you get a criminal record, it's basically over for you. So I don't want to take that risk, is what I'm saying. So I always take the mature approach. Once it gets to the ground though, Gone is fucked. And I think that's where it's gonna go. I think Tom will stand with him for a little bit, then double leg him and strangle him to death. Mohammed Bruce Lee Norris, 100%. That's the combination I should have thought of first off. Frankie, do you think it's good to have a handsome Italian bad boy rebel like Giuliano Argenti? Doesn't sound like a Giuliano all to all. Um, you mean God Argenti? I think my opinions on Giuliano are very interesting. I consider him a friend. Giuliano is one of those guys here who, when you've got like a cunt in the group, but he's your cunt. That's how I feel about Giuliano. He's a massive cunt, but he's our cunt. Clown said you're never going through anything tough in your life, and he said he could do whatever he wants to you. This comes from a guy who's never goes on camera and calls and resorts to calling everyone a faggot. We know when people overuse the F word. We know what they're really about. Until Clown Show gets on camera or agrees to come on and actually have it out, I'm never going to take the guy seriously. He is a gigantic vagina. And him getting kicked off the platform was best for everyone. Fuck that cunt. And he can come and have a go anytime. I've invited Clown Show on here. He's claimed that I've ducked him and don't want to go on his show, even though I made it clear that I would do so. He's a pussy and a duck. And that's all I've got to say about the guy. Anyone who says that somebody's content is boring when all they do is talk shit for 7 hours, and anyone who's, says they're 33-0 on the streets yet they've never gone on camera, he's an embarrassing joke in my opinion. Musical hates Gilly. I don't think Musical hates Gilly. I think that Musical obviously is grateful for the laptop situation and all that stuff, but he gets tired of putting up with some of his bullshit, and I get that. But I'm well within my rights to put up with his bullshit as long as I feel necessary. If he can't mute you, he won't go on panel with you. Of course, Clown Show is not going to do that. The thing that bothered me about Clown Show, yeah, is he said he made like a 1-minute clip about me, calling me a faggot and all that kind of stuff. So I responded to him, and then I said in the comments, I'll come on anytime. And then he completely ignored me. And then a week later, he goes on his show and goes, Frankie ducked me. He's a pussy. He's blah, blah, blah. So from that moment on, I was like, this guy's not serious. And his entire channel was built around talking shit about people so that their subscribers will come over to him and then he can just talk more shit. And let's not forget that he begs for money as well. Broke pussy. You should have been a girl the way you talk. That's really hurtful. Can you elaborate? I mean, I'm always looking to him. I appreciate the critique. I'll put it that way. You know what they say about talk, walk. Well, this is the thing. It's like I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, whereas he's not. He punched a hole in his wall live on stream the other day and cut himself. I got sent like a short of him. I think it was Anakin MMA that did it, where he crashed out and broke his own microphone. He's just a guy, innit? He's just that dude. He just can't be taken seriously. I'm sorry to say. But again, like I said, I've despite all the shit that I've spoken about the guy, I've got nothing against him. But when I can't handle somebody who's got no understanding of irony, and he's got no understanding of it, I would cut him to shreds in any kind of discussion. At least I've got the balls to put this ugly mug on camera and say what I'm going to say. He doesn't have the balls to do anything of the sort. And again, if you're going to call out people for certain things, Don't be ironically that yourself. That's the issue that I've got with the guy. There's no substance to him whatsoever. Shout out to Clown Show. Do you get bad anxiety when you quit nicotine? So what I usually do is I wait to get a cold so that I need to force myself to take time off using it. And then by the time I've got through that period, I'm off it and I'm fine. I do have quite an addictive personality though, so I had more of an alcohol issue. Yeah, shout out to the clown. I mean, the only ironic thing he's ever done in his life is call himself clown. That's all I've got to say. Insults are the lowest form of intelligent conversation. I've tuned into his live stream maybe a handful of times in my life, and every time I tune in, he's calling somebody a faggot or crashing out. I actually give props to the guy for being able to sustain a 7-hour live stream where it's all centered on rage baiting and crashing out and begging for money. To me, that's because I would give up after 20 minutes. So the fact that he can sit there for 7 hours begging for money is an achievement within itself. Withdrawing from nicotine for me was almost as bad as benzodiazepines regarding anxiety. This is the thing. Yeah, man, the alcohol issue was bad. Like, I've never been a drug taker, but I went through a period in my life where I was like quite a heavy drinker, and um, it wasn't great. But the thing is, yeah, I've kind of developed an immunity to it now. So even when I have the odd drink every now and then, it's very hard to get me drunk. So I don't do anything too crazy. And usually when I go and drink, I'm abroad, so I tend to keep it low key. Because usually when I'm in Asia or out and about and you drink too much, that's usually when you get taken advantage of and you end up having a bad time. So I've matured over the years and I know what the cutoff point is, whereas I didn't used to before. I was one of those people who would just like get blind, blackout drunk. Like if I had one, I didn't really know when to stop. Whereas now I know what my limit is. I'm more of like a slow drinker. I take my time and I drink in the right situation. So yeah, you live, you learn, innit? That's how that goes. Irish and an alcohol issue. Yeah, man, it comes with the bloodline, unfortunately. It is what it is. But like I said, I'm somebody who's quite self-aware. So I'm not somebody who has like enormous flaw. And I'm not somebody who shies away from criticism whatsoever. Does anyone have any opinion while we're here? We'll go to Yuri Prohaska and Khalil Roundtree. I personally think I'm not a very big Khalil Roundtree fan. I think Yuri's gonna do another job here. I think Yuri only comes unstuck when he comes against the elite of the elite. Love the sexy lighting, mate. Yeah, I've got like I put LED lights up in my office here. A bit contrived and a bit campy, but I can't have like strong lighting on this face because I'm not good looking enough to pull it off. Why do you think that is? I'm also of Irish descent and I share a similar experience to you. I don't really think it's an Irish thing. I think like if you've got anything in your past where you've been subjected to that, it becomes like a thing. And drinking's awesome. Like I'm somebody who like veered away from like the drug stuff. Why do you think Khalil's gonna win? Just out of curiosity. Why have you got Khalil in that one? I think Khalil's fairly tough, but he's very one trick. And I think he's gonna get caught. Do you have custom emojis for members? I don't have any memberships. I'm not monetized. I'm gonna be the one YouTuber who never does it. It's just not on my MO. My entire my entire spiel is just building a community and I'm just enjoying that aspect of it. I'm never gonna be out here asking for money or doing anything like that. Do you think weed is for evil hippies? I used to smoke a lot of weed, and it made me very unproductive. I stopped smoking weed on the very last day of university. So when I on the last day of my degree, I'm like, I used to have long hair. I used to bun it down, and then basically, long story short, I decided that it was going to end badly for me. So I stopped smoking weed from that day onwards, and I haven't touched it since. Got straight on the booze. Thanks, I'll super chat in future. I don't think you can even do super chats unless you're monetized, so I'm never going to do that. I think, like I said, I've got a relatively small community here. I do miss the odd chat just when I go on a little bit of a ramble, but I think most people get an opportunity to speak in it. How you doing, Caravaggio? Good to see you, bro. His leg kicks are so fucking heavy. He's gonna fuck with Yuri's balance. Yuri's very good at evading that shit, though. I think his movements become a little bit better. I've never really seen Yuri submit to. I mean, I know we had a little bit of trouble with them against Pereira, and he came unstuck against him. But I don't think Khalil is diverse enough in his striking to deal with somebody like Yuri. I think Yuri's gonna piece his face up, and that's the thing about Khalil. When he starts getting hurt, he slows down and he comes unstuck. And I think I think it's a good scrap. Could Khalil win? 100% he could. He could catch him with something. I think Yuri's gonna be too tricky for him. And I can see him catching him with like a nasty elbow or like a spinning elbow or something flashy and just flatlining the prick stone cold out. So I'm gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna go with Yuri by some kind of flashy landing on him flush with something. Khalil gave Alex a tougher fight than Yuri did, though. I mean, I think Alex just completely underestimated him. And again, if you're looking at MMA math, that's a good point to make. I'm fully with you. And comparatively, Khalil got battered for a lot of that fight. And I do think, it's a contrived thing to say, but matchups do matter. Styles do matter. And I think Yuri's just Chad enough to deal with most people. Isn't Yuri's only loss to Alex, from what I remember? So I'm with Westy on that. Styles definitely make fights. Do they have Zin in the UK? As far as I know, yeah. As far as I know, quite possibly. But I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I do think it's going to be a good fight. It's a matchup that makes sense. Yuri doesn't fight in the conventional way that fighters do well in, a lot of lateral movement, etc. And that's why I agree. I think the movement's going to be a problem. And also, the thing is with Yuri that makes him so effective is he doesn't fucking know what he's going to do. And he's just and what I like is Yuri's one of my favorite fighters as well. I love his head movement. I really do. I want Dominic Reyes to get. I don't really like Dominic Reyes as a personality, if I'm being honest. He's a bit cringe, but as a fighter, I enjoy him. And let's be honest, we all want to see Dom Reyes do well because I fucking hate John Jones. And we would have been spared of more years of John Jones gaslighting and holding up people if he'd lost that fight. So, Dr. Prohaska. Yeah, Yuri is one of my favorites as well. So I've got Yuri in that fight, but I can see it being a tricky one. Somebody brought up Ulberg and Reyes. Who have people got for this one? I really, really want Reyes to win this fight, but I've got a bad feeling that Ulberg is going to get it done. He seems to be the poster boy for the UFC right now. So I think it's going to be a close decision. And I think they're going to give it to Ulberg. And a lot of people are going to be angry about it. That's how I see it going. Because the thing is with Dominic Reyes is he's very good, but he kind of needs to finish people to get it done. And Ulberg is very, very cautious, almost annoyingly so. I want Reyes to win, and I hope he does win. I hope he flatlines the little prick. But I think Ulberg will stay away from him. I mean, you saw that Ulberg fight against Jan Blachowicz, which, by the way, I thought he lost. He just stays at a safe distance and just clips away. And I think he'll do that with somebody like Dominic Reyes. I don't think he'll take any risks. And I think Dominic Reyes will get sloppy and lunge in a little bit and probably get touched more in those key moments. Because I think he's going to get agitated with him tapping away. How you doing, Justin Kennedy? Reyes TKO by round 1. I would love to see that. I would love to see him just chin him out. Dominic Reyes played football at Stony Brook, where I went to school. I heard Dominic Reyes was a very good athlete and had multiple avenues into being an athlete. He was apparently he was quite good at basketball and football, from what I've heard. What about the Ank Pereira rematch? I've got Ankalaev. Based on the fight that I saw, I know that it was when I watched the fight live. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that Pereira won because the way that I saw the fight was there were 3 rounds that were like razor close. I think it was the first, the third, and the fifth, where I thought that Alex Pereira slightly outlanded him. So from that perspective, I thought he won 3 rounds to 2. But in rounds 2 and 4, Ankalaev absolutely dominated him and could have finished him in both those rounds. I just think stylistically, Ankalaev knows that he can hang with him on the feet. And the threat of the takedown is always going to be there. Ankalaev proved in that fight that he doesn't need to take him down to stifle him. And that's the problem. When Alex Pereira has something to worry about, he has a problem. Does Pereira move up to heavyweight in the future before retiring? I think he does. And the reason why I think he does is because he's always got that. No, I like rewatching it. Ankalaev did clearly won the fight, but when I watched it live and I was score betting or round betting, I thought maybe Alex Pereira won, but Ankalaev fully deserved to win and did win. Ank probably gets him out. I think it will go to decision again. I think we're going to get a very similar fight that we got to the first one. The only way I see it going differently is if Alex Pereira takes massive risks. I think what happens in this one, it's either going to be exactly the same as the last one, or Pereira's going to go for more and then get taken down more and get wet blanketed a lot. And it's going to be very frustrating to watch. But either way, I see Ankalaev winning that fight. And the odds kind of reflect where I see it. But yeah, I do think Pereira does move up to heavyweight because there are very, very few options for Tom Aspinall at heavyweight. He's run through pretty much everyone. And even if Pereira loses, they can probably sell oh, well, maybe he can do it at heavyweight. And then there's the whole first free belt world champion in UFC history. So you can sell that. So what you could do is if you got Alex Pereira up to heavyweight, then you give him a bottom feeder heavyweight to chin first. You can justify it. But if he loses to Ankalaev convincingly and then tries to get a fight with Aspinall, I don't know if they can necessarily sell that. But if you give him a quick bottom feeder, somebody that isn't going to give him any takedown issues, and he can go in there and just chin, possibly. I have a feeling that Pereira chins Ank this time. He's gonna have to take a lot of risks doing that. And by the way, Aspinall absolutely destroys. He absolutely destroys Pereira. Easy work. First round, takes him down, batters him. How's it going, Crossover? What's good, man? Hope you're well. Shout out to if you're not subscribed to Crossover MMA, give the guy a shout. Absolute beast of a man. Give the guy a sub. Friend of the channel, and I've got to have you and Jax on for a a panel at some point. You're always welcome on a Sunday, but you know how uncomfortable Sundays can get. Aspinall needs a Pereira caliber fighter to build his legacy, get the ball rolling. This is the problem that Aspinall is going to have, because once he gets through Gone, which we all fully expect him to do, there's nobody left for him. Gelton Almeida's shit. It's not British bias, mate. It's not. What's British bias? That Aspinall would destroy Pereira. Aspinall is a legit 260 pounder that has that came up as a wrestler BJJ guy. He fucks. He could fuck Pereira in the ass and Pereira could do nothing about it. But I agree with Caravaggio. This is the one thing that's going to be a major, and this is why Aspinall wanted the Jones fight so badly, because he looks up and down that division and he's like, man, there's very few legacy fights for me. And that's the problem that he's going to have. Aspinall could be seen, Aspinall could get 6 title defenses and still have legacy issues. Again, Aspinall would fuck Derek Lewis up. Let's just be honest. He would. Derek Lewis is like a turtle on his shell when he gets taken to the ground. So again, what is he talking about? Yummers, I'm talking about absolutely nothing, mate. We're loosely talking about MMA. We're kind of going through some of the really good matchups this year. And obviously discussing the fact that UFC is finally back, which we're all happy about. We finally got some good matchups to look forward to. We're currently talking about Aspinall's potential matchups at heavyweight and how his legacy is going to be really damaged by the fact that he's not going to have good competition. But you never know. Some people could emerge in the next few years and give him some trouble, but it's hard to see. I mean, the heavyweight division is not in good shape right now. And I mean, if Aspinall somehow manages to lose to Gon, which is just unthinkable, imagine a world, imagine living in that world. I do think that there is a possibility that John Jones comes back, which is basically the only chance he's got of getting any kind of legacy. Imagine how funny it would be if Tom Smoke's gone, then gets outfluked by Derek. I mean, that would be glorious. I don't mind living in that world. Because I mean, that is ultimately the beauty of heavyweight. You make one mistake and you're getting bricked. So there's always the prospect of that happening. And that's why we've never had a heavyweight. I mean, Stipe Miocic is seen as the greatest heavyweight of all time. And he had like 3 title defenses. Heavyweight's not the kind of division where you get. I mean, Tom Aspinall's probably going to be seen as the heavyweight GOAT when he's all said and done, but people will always question his CV. Even though he pretty much went through the entire top 10 to get to where he got. And I think Tom Aspinall's legacy is always going to be, I made John Jones retire without fighting him. Derek Lewis beating Ngannou in one of the worst fights of all time, but he did. He slightly outstruck him, but that was a legit win. Derek Lewis getting the belt would be amazing. It would be, and it would be fun. It would just be a fun story. You know, I don't think Derek Lewis is as funny as people make out, but I enjoy him. And he knocks people the fuck out. They're not going to let Jones on the White House card. There's no way. The thing is, they're not going to let John Jones on the White House card just out of principle. Because he basically made Dana White look like a proper cuck. You know, he was sucking him off for 1.5 years, only for the guy to retire. He made him look like a mug. I do think there's I mean, it's not impossible. I do think there's a possibility that John Jones comes back. Whether they would trust him with a card that big, I find it highly unlikely, is what I'm saying. John Jones is the GOAT regardless of his personality. Let's keep it real. I have to disagree with you just because of and again, it's a debate. It's a debate that's worth having. When people say that John Jones is the GOAT, I don't shit on them for that. However, with all the PED uses and all that stuff and all the questionable losses, you know, the losses that he should have had, the Thiago Santos one was really bad. The guy was on one leg for 5 rounds and he got a split decision. That's terrible. He lost to Dominic Reyes. We all know he did. For me, the GOAT of the sport is always going to be Mighty Mouse. I've got Mighty Mouse first. I've got GSP second. I think his CV is very underrated. I've got John Jones third, and I've got Anderson Silva fourth. That's how my GOAT list goes. Lewis is just nice to have on a card every now and then. That's the thing. He's going to bring the fun. Do you think Dagestani fighters take PEDs? Yes, I think they do. Anyone who's associated with Russia is up to no good, in my opinion. I think they're all on something. I mean, the fact that their entire nation got banned from an Olympics says it all. They're known juicers, in my opinion. Do I think John Jones is one of the most high IQ fighters in MMA history? 100%. There's no doubt in the fact that he's a great fighter, but there's just too many asterisks. So for me, Demetrius Johnson. The fact that Demetrius Johnson has 11 title defenses against underrated competition. He goes to BJJ tournaments against bigger guys and cleans up. He went to one and basically fought at bantamweight against, again, killers. If you know the sport, you know the sport. And not only did he do that, but he won in a variety of sensational ways. I mean, he's won by punch KOs, kick KOs, every submission under the sun. He's done it in incredible fashion, clean as a whistle. And he's a nice lad as well. 100% the Russian PED program is legendary. It's known. John is the most talented fighter ever, but he's not the GOAT because of the PEDs and cheating in the cage. And that's kind of where I'm at, Justin. Incredibly high IQ fighter, does his groundwork in the cage. Again, some astonishing wins on his record. I feel like that Jones that we got from when he was at his light heavyweight prime, between when he was like 23 and 28, I think that version of John Jones beats any fighter on earth. But then I think you've got to take into consideration the drug use, the partying. He did have longevity across the sport, across a couple decades, but let's face it, he got helped a lot along the way. He didn't fight anyone that was a legit danger to him. He didn't fight anyone that had the attributes that he has. Avoided fights like that. He got cards moved. There's the PED thing that's hanging over his head. There's too many asterisks, in my opinion, to get called the GOAT. But if you take everything into consideration, that it depends on how you view the GOAT conversation. That prime period of Jones, like I said, from like 23 to 28, I think he beats anyone on earth. If you put prime for prime, him against anyone. Pound for pound. But yeah, I think the Russians are definitely there's too much going on with those guys. And there's also the issue that the Dagestanis have with the they're known for using what do you call them, those IVs as well. The IV thing is legit suspicious to me as well. John Jones is like LeBron James in that they both have had extremely impressive resumes and at the same time cheat with PD, so they will never be the unanimous GOAT. LeBron James in terms of longevity is one of the greatest basketball players of all time in terms of what he's done. He ducked Charles Sonnen because it wasn't favorable for him. It's just his general, like, there were times during, I mean, the thing is that his ducks aren't that well documented, but there were times when he could have fought legit contenders and didn't, purely because of circumstantial things. But he's been known in the past to be like, nah, I'm not fighting that guy. And he did, thank you, Westy. And he definitely ducked Ngannou. The fact that he reappeared at heavyweight after Ngannou had fucked off said it all. Big Tom fan, but Jones would beat him in his prime. I agree with that. I agree with that. A prime John Jones was a nightmare. That was a setup with Chael, probably. But he ducked Ngannou and he ducked Tom Aspinall. I don't know about Cain Velasquez because I don't know if they were ever due to fight. But a prime Cain would have given him problems as well. I still think in hindsight, Makhachev would have lost the first Volk fight if he didn't get that IV. Fight was close. I agree with that as well. Makhachev is legitimately a good fighter, though. You know, he's good. Like, anyone saying that Makhachev isn't good is dumb. But I do think he's going to lose to Jack Della Maddalena. And I do think that here's the thing, yeah. I'm one of the biggest Volk fans out there. I love Alexander Volkanovski. But the fact that that fight was even close is embarrassing. The fact that you could make a case for Volkanovski winning that fight is embarrassing. Yeah, can't forget about Cain. Cain was amazing, but again, Cain had one of those situations where people talk about him, people who have fought with him talk about Cain like he was the greatest heavyweight ever, and there's legit cases for that. He's just had too many devastating losses. He just has. You can't put Cain up there. Frankie, look up John Jones' strength and conditioning coach, Stan Efferding. I will. I certainly will. Never heard of the cunt, to be honest. I believe he supplied Jones with steroids. I mean, there's no debate about whether John Jones has used them or not. There's no debate. Because the steroids he got caught with aren't something that have been known and he was using testosterone blocker as well. I mean, that's a massive red flag. There's no doubting that John Jones cheated. Makhachev is better than Khabib. I completely agree. Khabib striking is on a level with Juliana Pena's, and I'm not even fucking around. Khabib striking is horrible. I think Khabib is a better wrestler than Makhachev, but I think Makhachev would have enough wrestling know-how to at least deal with that, and then would be a way better striker. I've got JDM over Islam though. So do I. I think JDM's defense is way better. Sorry, it's not way better. It's good enough to deal with it. And again, at that weight class, there's a reason why Khabib never went up to welterweight and literally killed himself to get to lightweight every single time. He knows the deal. I think Jack is going to be able to stuff enough takedowns, and then he's going to box his face off. But I do think it goes 5 rounds, which makes it worrying to me. Your cam is too noisy. It's my microphone. If my microphone's a little bit too loud, I would suggest you turn it down a little bit. I stabbed her first. Sick name, by the way. What's up, Frankie? How you doing, Steve? Good to see you here as always. Hope you're doing well and at work's going well. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna call you Tinos because it's just easier. Yeah, Tinos. 0 out of 10 striking, but 11 out of 10 wrestling. I agree with you 100%. 100%. The fact he was able to be so dominant. I'm gonna bet big on JDM. Hang on, JDM. Let me see what the odds are. I've got it saved here. JDM is plus 225. I'm gonna be all over that. All over that. Khabib was boring to watch, and apparently we're not allowed to say that. I threw my back out, so I got a week off. You fucking legend. Back pain is something that really I've had back and neck issues for years. Fortunately, the only thing that sorted me out is I found this little Chinese dude who was a fucking miracle worker, and he finally managed to fix my back. But back problems are one of those things where you can't go to a hospital and get it fixed. I would rather have bone issues than fucking muscle problems all day long because they're just hard to deal with. You need somebody who legit knows what they're doing with thousands of years of like passed down experience dealing with muscle pain to deal with it. So yeah, I hope you feel better soon, bro, because obviously in your line of work, having a bad back ain't it. Bro, imagine Kane versus Fedor in their praying. That would have been a great fight. Bit grainy tonight, boss. No, I'm just hiding my ugliness. Shout out to you, Combatics. I haven't seen you around in a minute. And I'm using shitty lighting as well. I had like a light on in the background that was coming off my monitor, and it went off, and I can't be fucked to get up and fix it. Do you know what? I'll do it real quick. Hold on. Hopefully that should hold out and be minorly better. What happens when you run in a circle at the speed of light in the octagon? Excellent question. That sounds like a timeline alterer. We end up in a world where Bilal Muhammad was never champion, which I'm all in favor of. Fedor's first run in Pride is legendary. So many goated performances. Fedor was a straight up beast. It's a shame that we never really got to see him fight in the UFC, but that it didn't really matter back then because Pride was a better organization back then. So I feel like if you're somebody who's got like Fedor in your GOAT conversation, I feel like that's a perfectly reasonable take to have. And again, it's all that kind of debate is very subjective. With how good Dustin did against Islam, I'm confident in JDM. I completely agree with that. That performance was shoddy. And I feel like with Islam, he's had a lot of luck along the way. He's obviously fought featherweights the majority of the time. And then he obviously gets some Money Moicano, who I love, by the way, but had no business being in there with him. And then he runs away from Sarukian. But to be fair to him, going up and fighting JDM, is tough because now he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He can either fight JDM at welterweight, which obviously he's doing, or he looks down and he's got Ilya down there, and Ilya's legit a problem. Did you see that Khabib listed Bilal as one of Islam's yeah, I mean, the dick sucking at that is unbelievable. Bilal is horrible, but he's effective, so I've got to give him credit for that. Bilal is an awful fighter and a cringy little shitbag. Have fun, boys. Take it easy, Combatics. Thanks for the drive-by. I appreciate it. Spiros, how many dead bodies would you have to lift in a week if you didn't get time off? Yeah, I mean that must be tough to deal with. Fan of Islam, but he would lose to Ilya too, being completely honest. After seeing what Ilya did to Charles, I have to agree with that. Ilya, to me, is one of the greatest pound for pound fighters in the world right now. And I'm telling you now, as somebody who's watched Ilya's entire career before he got to the UFC, people haven't even seen how good Ilya is on the ground. They haven't. They don't know yet. The way that Ilya transitions on the ground is amazing. Islam's not going to want to get him down there or try to. And he has legit knock your head off kind of power. I will subscribe to you for free. Were you expecting some kind of fee? It's interesting. But thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. I am now 4 subs away from 1.2K. Let's go. Are you close with your parents? I'm very close with my mother, which makes probably sense if you hear the kind of takes I've got. But my father, not so much. He was a drunken woman beater who's now passed away, unfortunately. So not so close with him anymore, seeing as he's dead. Bilal has extra peripheral vision with his lazy eye. For real, the thing is with Bilal, I think the reason why he's had such success is because when you see him flailing around and messing around, it throws you off your game. You know, you look at him and you think, this guy is shit. And you get lulled into like a false sense of security. And before you know it, 5 rounds have gone by and he's beat you. Nah, you need the subscription. I probably do. That's probably a reasonable thing to say. Wrestling and MMA is meh. I mean, it is. Bro, what the hell? Lex, is that you're the second person who's come in and said that today. I guess there's worse things to be called. I'll take it. But Bryce took him down. Yeah, Ilya defended 9 out of 10 of Bryce's takedowns, and Bryce was the best wrestler at 145 at that point. And he got straight back up. It's not like Bryce got him down and then Ilya was fucked down there. He literally popped back up about 20 seconds later. For me, yeah, a takedown only really counts when you can keep somebody down. And Ilya Topuria on the ground is sensational. He's much better than people think, and he's strong as fuck. And his boxing is beautiful to behold. They're talking about Lex Friedman. I'm not too familiar with the guy, but I think this is the 3rd time in the last few weeks I've had somebody come in and go, "Oh my god, it's Lex Friedman." Ilya is fantastic, but that midget better not think he can fuck around at welterweight. Honestly, I give Gaethje a good chance. Yeah, they're going to do the Gaethje fight, aren't they? Gaethje is going to get knocked out. Did you take Adderall ever? I've never taken anything really. I've only ever smoked weed. I got MDMA bombed a couple of times where someone slipped MDMA in my drink, but I've only ever done weed, alcohol, and that's it. Never taken any kind of drug. You look very vaguely like him. I mean, you know, I've been told I look like a lot of people, so I'm not sure really how to take it. I guess I've kind of got very similar like jawline and stuff. Personality wise, we couldn't be more different. Thank you, my friend. Hope you are doing good too. Bro, imagine Ilya submits Islam. I know extremely unlikely. That would be the most badass moment ever. 100%. I mean, again, it's not out of the realms of possibility. Because Islam is going to shoot at some point. Gaethje isn't getting knocked out, definitely. Gaethje's getting chinned. Gaethje got chinned by Max Holloway. You see Jurkus get his drink spiked after the fight. Yeah, he looked out of it, bro. I mean, he could have just been, because I'm assuming he didn't drink through his camp, he could have just been drunk off his noodle. And those South Africans know how to party. When I worked in the Middle East and in China, funnily enough, I used to have a lot of South African friends. They know how to party and they get fucked up. Islam probably beats Ilya and Arman, but I still think Ali Blababad. So who knows? Um, I think Ilya is going to be tough for anyone to beat. Ilya is going to knock Justin Gaethje out because Gaethje's okay, but he's not technical enough, and that's the problem. You can't get Ilya's Justin Gaethje's hope is going to be that he gets scrappy with him, and you can't do that against Ilya. Ilya's way too technical. He's going to get chinned. He's going to get chinned horribly. I mean, the leg kick's not a bad shout, but I think Ilya's way too quick at 155. I think he sees all of it coming. I think Ilya's going to smash him out. I do think it's kind of gross, though, that Ilya's not fighting Arman, but I don't think he's ducking him. I just think he thinks he's a cunt, which is a good enough reason. Arman is a cunt. He's just not likable. He gives me like rich boy vibes. Gaethje got chinned because he made an idiotic decision when his nose was broken. He won't make the same mistake again. Gaethje got absolutely forget the knockout at the end of the 5th round, Westy. Yeah, Max Holloway beat him up for 5 rounds. Look at the fight. Look, Max Holloway out technicaled Gaethje for 25 minutes and then knocked his block off. There's no way that he's got the technical ability to deal with Ilya. Arman is a cunt. He's absolutely a cunt, a massive cunt. And I agree with Tinos. I think Gaethje is going to get chinned. I don't know if it's going to happen in the 1st round. I see it happening in the 3rd. Because Justin is kind of tough. I think he's tough, and I think he's going to be wary enough of Ilya's power to not go in there diving like a mongoloid. But I think the result's going to be the same. Flatline KO'd. That's how I see that going. Justin, that was weird. I saw that. It would have been an electrolyte tab. They really helped with the hangover. Yeah. It probably was. He looked fucked out of his head. What's good, brother? How you doing, Ricky? Eating cheese and salami. Drinking whole milk. Got my weight up recently. Looking jacked and white. What do you mean you look jacked and white? You mean you were not white and then you just been overloaded on milk and it's fucked up your pigmentation? If that works, that might be something I need to look into. Because I went a little bit too far with my tan over the summer and I need to get my pigmentation back. Ilya is making smart decisions. He's trying to defend his belt against the least dangerous fighter, so I don't blame him for not choosing Arman. I think he would beat up Arman Sarukian as well, but I do think Arman is the toughest fight left at 155. I'll give you that much. I don't think Ilya is afraid of anyone. I just think he's like, this prick does not deserve a fight. I think he genuinely dislikes him. Arman's a simpy little weirdo as well. We can't take that out of consideration. But shout out to you, Ricky. Hope you're doing well, bro. Always good to have you here. Nah, Steve, it was his coach after being salty. Drickus didn't kiss him after the fight, so he drugged him. Definitely. I'm a jacked white boy. Get used to it. Well, bro, you know I respect you. Slow down. But I hope you're well, brother. It's always a fucking pleasure to have you here. Always. Nothing but love, bro. I think Ilya is going to be tricky for anyone. I do think eventually he will lose. Is there anyone lanky at 155 who's good with kicks? Let's have a quick look at the division. Forgot how to spell for a second there. All right. Somebody at lightweight who's good with no. Nobody in the top 15. Joel Alvarez, but he's going up to welterweight now, so you can count him out. There's literally nobody. He batters Rufi, he batters Ribovics, he batters Duncan, he batters Rebetsky, obviously. Sadikov, yeah. There's nobody really lanky that could do it. Do you know who would be interesting? Do you know what I'd like to see? Quite honestly. I would like to see Usman Nurmagomedov from Bellator. Because I think Usman Nurmagomedov is secretly the best of them. Really good takedowns, but his striking is legit serious. Bit of a Roy cheat as well. Got popped. I would like to see Usman Nurmagomedov come to the UFC at some point because let's face it, the whole Bellator PFL thing is days are numbered. Hi, mate. You into football? Build a Bob. I absolutely am. I'm a Newcastle United fan. Up the Geordies. Hopefully, we can do a fucking number on Leeds tomorrow. Who do you support, Builder Bob? And welcome to the channel. We talk a little bit of MMA here, and about titties and other stuff, other wonderful things. Vagina from around the world. And we occasionally we talk about football in here. It drives the Americans crazy, but fuck them, right? Max is fucking huge now. Max should have stayed at 155. Max 100%. He should not have gone back down to 145. I'd knock out Mackenzie Dern. I believe you, bro. By the way, I've just discovered here that Weili has vacated her belt, and it's going to be Verna and Mackenzie Dern for the title. Why is Mackenzie Dern getting a title shot? Gross. She's shit. Nice dump truck though, but has a horsey face. Pound for pound, Ilya is also a better. Ilya Tapura is the pound for pound number one fighter in the UFC right now, hands down. I support Liverpool, mate, but Liverpool. I'll be honest with you, Builder Bob here. I've never had anything against Liverpool. My brother supports them, and because we were never really a threat to you, I always wanted Liverpool to do well. I hope you burn in hell now. But the problem I've got here is I hate Chelsea and Arsenal even more, and Man City bore me. So, yeah, bro. I guess I still want you to win out of what's left, but it's going to be begrudgingly. Speaking of English legends, how are you doing, Keegan? England has had 0 SEC championships. England are perennial losers. We know this. But again, I'm going to bring this up. I'm really an Irishman, so I hope that continues. I said this a long time ago. Yeah, I would rather Newcastle win a Carling Cup, which we've now won, of course, up the Geordies, and then England win a World Cup, and I mean that all day long. I stand by that. So hopefully now that the devil was giving me what I wanted, England never win a World Cup for the rest of existence. Ilya sucks. Ilya sucks, Ricky. That's silly. That's silly talk. You can hate him. You can call him a midget. You can say he's a jarbag, but saying he sucks is ridiculous. You can make an argument that those 3 wins he's got in a row, Volkanovski, Holloway, and Charles Oliveira might be the greatest win streak in UFC history, and all knockouts. In terms of names, that might be the greatest run ever. I love you, Ricky, but don't be a fucking hater. College football is better than soccer. No, it's not. American football has way too many breaks for me. Who do you think will win Liverpool versus Arsenal? I've got that as a draw. Yeah, I was very proud of the Newcastle game. Obviously, heartbreaking at the end there, but I was very. It's the one time we've lost a game where I genuinely felt proud, mate. I hope you beat Arsenal because I hate their fans so much, and I hate their club and their delusions so much. I think it's going to be a draw though, mostly because I worry about your defense. But I think you've got enough firepower to cause them problems. I could see that being a 2-2. I know you're trolling. I love you, man. I don't like Ilya, but I think he's pound for pound number 1 and the most skilled. And I mean, it's just a sensible thing right now. I think if you look at competition, activity, the way that he's done it, you have to do it. Can you play Toxicity by SOAD? Unfortunately, I can't play anything because my stream will get taken down. And I don't want any copyright strikes on my channel. Because even though I'm not out here for the money, I don't want to get my channel taken down for stupid reasons. Apologies, bro. Play it in the background while you listen to me talk shit. Who do you think will be the top 3? I think I have a weird feeling that Arsenal are going to win the title this year. I know it's a song, Harry. I'm not completely retarded. I know I look like I'm that my parents were cousins, but I assume that was a song. Dirty Boxing is starting. Excellent. Ilya couldn't finish Josh Emmett. You think he's going to finish Gaethje? But he gave Josh Emmett one of the worst beatdowns ever. That was like a 50-42, right? Beat the shit out of him. Sometimes that finish doesn't come. I actually respect the fact that he was patient and continued to beat the fuck out of him. I respect that more, if anything. So eerie seeing Jason Anik. Are you calling me Jason Anik? Or oh, you mean Jason Anik on Dirty Boxing? Is he like Anik's brother or something? I'm unfamiliar with him. I forgot Dirty Boxing was on. Yeah, apparently it's just started. So this might be a good time to get you guys to, because I am coming back on tomorrow. Yes, I think Arsenal will win it as well. That Joey Essex is boxing. He's a melt. Don't like him. Yeah, he's definitely going to get beat up. Joey Essex is a melt. Oh, is Brian Battle on this card? Brian Battle getting cut is a travesty, in my opinion. I'm quite a big Brian Battle fan. I think when he came out and said all that shit about France, it was fucking over for him. The UFC doesn't like that these days. You know, talking shit about nations and whatnot. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. But yeah, I do hope Liverpool win against Arsenal tomorrow, begrudgingly. But I think it's going to be, I can see it being a score draw. But thanks for coming by, Builder Bob. And if you're a UK guy, do subscribe to the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. I'm just like a handful away from 1.2K, which I've been trying to get to for the longest of times now. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, but it's nice to have some more UK guys in here, especially UK guys that enjoy and can talk ball as well. Real ball. Not that gay American shit. What do you think of Darren Till? I enjoy Darren Till. I think he's going to get a nasty knockout tomorrow. I think he's a good talker, and I think he's better suited to boxing. I think he's not well-rounded enough at MMA to make a go of it there, but I think he could do well against shitty boxers and make some money. So I enjoy Darren Till. Proper Scouser as well. Shout out to Darren Till, and I hope he gets a blasting, destructive knockout tomorrow. Much appreciated, Builder Bob. I usually do live streams a couple times a week, and I would appreciate it if you rolled up here every now and then and just brought up some football stuff. And as a Liverpool fan, I do hope you get Isak, and I hope he does relatively well. But please just pay us the fucking money. Battle deserved to get cut from the UFC. You mean because of the weight cutting stuff? The Dylan Dennis fight is tomorrow, I think. I think Dylan Dennis is fighting on the Misfits card. So he's fighting tomorrow. And apparently it's an MMA fight. I was unaware of that. Shout out to you, Builder Bob. Much love. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to direct all you cunts to Combat Casual, who is watching the Dirty Boxing card. What about Tom Aspinall? I love Tom Aspinall. I watched him fight live at 304. Big fan of his. Send him to free. Good to see you again, Rainbow Tree. Hope you're good. So yeah, I'm going to recommend that everyone head over to this link now. There's my boy Combat Casual is on there at the moment. He is watching Dirty Boxing live, and he's usually a really fun guy to do watch-alongs with. So give the guy some love. Maybe subscribe to him as well. I'm sure he'd really appreciate. He's only got 2 people in there right now, or 3. So if you could jump over there and show the guy some love, I'd really appreciate that. I'm going to be back tomorrow to do the Misfits card. I'm going to be on with Brutally Honest MMA, who's always good value. I'm going to have Paradox the Chad on. I might try and get Musical to jump on as well, see if he's up for it. So yeah, much love to all of you here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning now, so I've got some shit to do. So sorry, hang on a second here. I'm just jumping over to, whoops, not that one. I'm jumping over to Combat Casual now. Ugh, what is going on with my, oh yeah. So yeah, if you could jump over to Combat Casual, I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be back. It's me, No Chill, by the way. No Chill, I've got to have you on. No Chill, I'm doing the, if that is really you, I'm doing the, I'm going to do a watch along for the Misfits card tomorrow. Chris Cushman, how you doing, brother? I'm just actually heading off. If you guys could head over to Combat Casual, I'm gonna send the link one more time. Shout out to everyone who turned up. Really appreciate all of you. I've got to get to bed now because it's really, really late. Give Combat Casual some love. Subscribe to the guy. And enjoy the dirty boxing. I'll be back tomorrow for the Misfits card. Back to talk some shit. We should have a good panel going on. Much love to all of you. I will catch you tomorrow. Have a great fucking evening. Much love, guys. Subscribe and like on your way out.